Alabama will be entered into the record. Chair hearing none, so ordered. Mr. Sherman, California.
Thank you. I build on the comments of Mr. Capuano. We need you in government service, and maybe that whistleblower office needs to be established in Boston for the next 2 years. I look forward with my colleagues to make the changes necessary in law so that we don't have a circumstance where today Madoff is on the streets and his accountant has not even been arrested or indicted. You point out how you were able to use your professional skills in roughly 4 hours, if not 4 minutes, to convince yourself that there was probably fraud going on here. I'm a CPA by training, and I would think it would take someone who's a CPA about the same amount of time, maybe even a little less, because as I understand it, the financial statements filed by Madoff showed numbers as high as like 10 to $17 billion. Is that right?
Yes. Let me explain. I think there's going to be two numbers that the press will start reporting. $50 billion is what Madoff has self-reported, and that was the notional amount of loss from all the investor statements combined for what they thought they had earned over many decades of investment returns with Mr. Madoff. And then there's a different number, probably a truer number. It's much lower, and that number is probably between 15 and 25 billion, which was actually cash received by Mr. Madoff.
I'm focusing on a different number, and that is if you just looked at the financial statements filed by Mr. Madoff, they would show numbers in the well over $10 billion. And then they would be attested to by the Freeling accounting firm, which had one active CPA. So the first thing anybody looking at those financial statements would have done is say, well, this is a pretty big operation, 10, 20, $17 billion. And the accounting firm isn't registered with the PCAOB. And what accounting firm is this? Oh, they have only one CPA. Now, it is physically impossible for one CPA to audit a $17 billion firm, but even if it was possible, you're supposed to be an independent auditor. Independence includes not getting more than, say, about 1/5 of your revenue from any one client. So unless you think that one CPA can audit a $17 billion operation and be done in a couple of months, you've got a fraudulent financial statement in your hand, not to mention your professional expertise focused on the fact that you cannot earn those kinds of continuously positive, even returns. I think either of our two professions could have spotted this rather quickly. Did you have a chance to bring your accusations to FINRA or the NASD?
I would have never taken them to the NASD or FINRA. I had a lot of bad experiences as an over-the-counter trader in the late 80s with the NASD. What I found them to be was a very corrupt, self-regulatory organization that if you took that fraud to them, they would ignore it as soon as they received it. They were there to assist industry by avoiding stricter regulation from the SEC.
Sir, you're using some strong terms, and from anybody else, you know, we'd say, oh, that's the wild-eyed populace. But you've basically said that our two main securities regulatory agencies see their role as protecting the major institutions on Wall Street rather than protecting investors. You've talked about some circumstance where the whistleblower is compensated. Have you suggested some private right of action? In a number of other statutes, we have what we call private attorneys general, where the whistleblower doesn't just blow the whistle and hope that somebody takes action, but rather is able to bring an enforcement or civil case themselves, and if they win, do quite well. What would you think of a proposal like that?
I would be wholly in favor. As you know, the False Claims Act already gives the right of private action on behalf of the government. The SEC has Section 21AE of the 34 Act, which does provide for a whistleblower bounty, but it's only for insider trading theory cases. I'd like to see that expanded to include all financial fraud cases so that you incentivize the foxes out there in the field to come forward and bring cases against their firm with specific and credible allegations, with inside books and records, transaction reports, with smoking gun emails, and basically give the government a case on a silver platter like I did, and if the government refuses it, give them a right of private action to take it forward.
And finally, I don't think there's another $50 billion Madoff out there, but are there some mini Madoff, in your estimation, are there some mini Madoffs and medium-sized Madoffs, and could somebody do what he did and not be as powerful as he was?
There is. I plan on turning in at least a $1 billion, if not bigger, mini Madoff to the SEC's Inspector General tomorrow. I hope this time they will actually listen to me.
Oh, I think they will.